Hey, what is going on, guys? In this video today, we're going to be discussing a pretty interesting controversy that's occurring in Fortnite right now, and it has to do with the new skill-based matchmaking system in the game. A few days after update 10.40 was initially released, players started to discover that regular public match lobbies had actually become cross-platform totally out of the blue. And what that means is that for the first time in Fortnite history, a console player, for example, even while just solo queuing in regular public matches, could get put into games with PC players, mobile players, Nintendo Switch players, or any other platform out there. This wasn't mentioned by Epic at all in the patch notes or anywhere else, so at first people were thinking that maybe it was just a glitch. But eventually, after a few days of people complaining and wondering what was up with this, a Fortnite developer finally addressed what was going on. He said, in update 10.40, we started rolling out the new skill-based matchmaking to core playlists. This means that you can be in matches with players across all platforms and input devices, and that those players are more likely to be of a similar skill. Even though that response does make sense in some regards, it also fails to address some of the biggest flaws with cross-platform matchmaking. So in this video, I want to basically analyze both sides of the cross-platform skill-based matchmaking debate, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so now that cross-platform matchmaking is in Fortnite, there's basically two different viewpoints that people have about it. Some players think that it's terrible, and other players think that it really isn't a big deal. I'd say that it being a bad thing is probably the more popular opinion at this point, so let's discuss that viewpoint first. One of the biggest arguments against cross-platform lobbies when combined with skill-based matchmaking is that the stats for skill-based matchmaking don't really work perfectly between platforms, and here's what I mean by that. As of right now, we really have no idea what stats and factors Fortnite actually uses for skill-based matchmaking. And honestly, I bet they're never gonna tell us because that way people won't be able to exploit it. But let's just say, for example, to keep things simple, Epic mainly looks at Season X KD and win percentage, probably not what really happens, but let's just run with it. So let's just say I'm a mobile player and I have a 4 KD and 10% win percentage. So when I'm playing against other mobile players, I'm definitely pretty darn good. So I queue up for a regular old solos game, it starts up, I land in some random town and get looted up, but as soon as I go to leave that random town, I run into a player that's building at the speed of light and he just absolutely destroys me. So I go on Fortnite Tracker to look up his stats, and I see that he has a 3.9 KD and 11% win percentage, so almost identical to me, but he's a mouse and keyboard player playing on PC. Even though we have incredibly similar stats, I think 99.9% of people would agree that a 4KD player playing on PC is going to dominate a 4KD player playing on mobile pretty much every single time. And obviously, PC to mobile is the biggest gap in terms of skill when it comes to cross-platform, but even something like console going against PC is still a huge disadvantage. And that's obviously due to the fact that your average console player is going to be hovering at around 50 to 60 FPS in games, while your average PC player is going to probably be in the 200 to 240 range. Plus, one argument that I've seen in favor of cross-platform matchmaking that I just don't really agree with at all is that since Epic's competitive philosophy is that all platforms should compete together, if you want to play the game seriously, you should be forced to play cross-platform. I have no problem with that ideology when it comes to something like Arena Mode. And in case you aren't aware, Arena Mode is cross-platform as well and has been since it was added into the game. But it makes sense to do that because Arena Mode is legitimately a competitive playlist. When you queue up for Arena, you know what you're getting yourself into, and therefore you should be forced to follow Fortnite's competitive viewpoint that all platforms should play against each other. But even with skill-based matchmaking enabled, public matches aren't and really never should be a competitive environment. And I actually found a short little comment online that I think sums up how frustrating this can be for certain players. The person says, "I'm a 35-year-old dude that plays exclusively on Switch and I have no plans to move to console or play PC. I love this game, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours since it was released on Switch. I'm not terrible and can frequently get 10+ kill games. Last night was the first time I realized that I was not having fun at all. This game is impossible to play against people who aren't on Switch or mobile. I was getting completely and utterly destroyed in every single game I played, lasered from across the map, outbuilt, and edited into oblivion." So this video will likely resonate the most with console players who are angry that they now have to play against PC players, but I think that comment showcases that it could be even worse than that. But now, let's get into the other side of the cross-platform skill-based matchmaking argument, which is basically that it isn't really a bad thing. The biggest argument that these people use is that since skill-based matchmaking is constantly adjusting a player's skill level based on various factors, although it may be a little bit rough at first, after a few games of that hypothetical 4KD mobile player dying to 4KD PC players, his ranking will begin to drop until he's eventually playing against much worse PC players, and also very likely a lot less of them. I think that actually is a fair argument that does make a lot of sense, but there's still some counters to it. Again, since Fortnite doesn't give us any substantial details on how the skill-based matchmaking system actually works, it's hard to determine how long it'll take for a really good mobile or Switch player, for example, to truly start getting fair cross-platform lobbies. It probably wouldn't be a huge deal if it only took 2 or 3 games, but it's also very possible that it'll take considerably longer than that. In their original skill-based matchmaking development blog, the only thing they really said to address this was, as you get better, so should your opponents. But clearly, that doesn't give anywhere near enough details on how rising and falling in terms of skill actually works. But even in a perfect world where the matches truly are fair, even with cross-platform, some people still just don't want to play against players on other systems, and I think that's totally fair. If I was a top-level mobile player, I'd probably want to play against other top-level mobile players, and not lower-skilled console/PC players that are only keeping up with me because of the systems they play on. The final argument that people in favor of cross-platform matchmaking use is actually super interesting. Now that skill-based matchmaking is in the game, what if cross-platform is actually needed to quickly fill lobbies? I know that may sound crazy because Fortnite's the most popular game on the planet with millions of players, but hear me out here. With skill-based matchmaking in public matches now, you can't just find the first 100 people and throw them in a game. So again, let's just go back to our main example of a mobile player with a 4KD and really good win rate. In a world without cross-platform matchmaking, if that player goes to find a game, I don't know if Fortnite would be able to quickly find 99 other 4KD high win rate mobile players to put him in a game with. And that same problem is probably going to be present at certain skill level thresholds on any platform. So maybe Epic just decided that instead of putting players in a queue like what you see in Arena mode, the better option to ensure that lobbies filled quickly was to combine all the platforms together when matches are being searched for. It seems pretty realistic, and if that truly is the case, I don't think we can hate on Epic too much for making this decision, because I think playing against players on other systems is better than waiting for a long time just to be put into a game. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you watched the entire thing, be sure to let me know with a comment down in the comment section below. Fairly simple question here. Do you think cross-platform matchmaking is a good thing for public matches, or do you think it's a bad thing? Be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, do whatever the heck you want, and I will catch you guys next time.